the show sounds different to you at home or in your car or on your run, it is because we're taping 8.5 hours later than usual. You're listening to a haphazard edition of the Tom Kelly Show starring Loren Raye. That's how we're going to rename it. That way we can keep the .coms. That way
it's not even featuring, it's starring. I mean, wow, that's I appreciate it. I'm honored.
And listen, and I can already tell your career is about to blow up. I know I got like a week or two of you left, if that. I just got the vibe.
I've been unemployed from radio since April, so we're good. I don't think it's changing anytime soon.
I'm your good luck charm, baby. And I don't mean that in a good way. I mean that in a self-centered, I'm going to get screwed way. Your career is about to take off because I'm getting fan mail for Loren every week to the point where it's actually kind of annoying. Yeah, that's the right way to say it. I mean, I
can tell you're annoyed by it. I love that it annoys you.
Just a little. Just a little. I mean, not like so much that I'm like if I were really annoyed, I would just like be bringing the FedEx guy up here for 40 minutes.
Obviously.
But just a little, and I don't even want to sell. So my mentor and friend Jeanette Barber, who's the last person to send a I love Loren text, her line was, Tom, you should do a short monologue, then do a couple of topics, guest, and then just ramble. So I think that's what we're going to push for.
Okay.
I think, and the short monologue is we're doing the show in order, or I think we will if this goes well. Last week, we talked about how I tried to get Yamaneika Saunders on the show. She, last minute, like all comedians who are in this weird haze of careers, she texted me and said, Tom, let's do it now. And I'm like, all right, Loren, go put baby Sophie out in the car. We're going to do a show.
Go put her in the car.
Put her in the car seat. Leave her outside. Sleeping. Is she good?
She's in her crib. She's fine.
Okay. You know what I love? I feel like you need to make that clear just in case you wind up in a Dateline documentary.
You know what? Can I tell you, there have been so many times on the air where I've said something jokingly and people will be like, that's not good. And I'm like, you can F off because it's an effing joke.
Yeah. like I mean,
it's on...
leaving a kid outside in a blizzard in the driveway while you do a podcast is a bad thing. We know that.
Yes, exactly. I'm of the mindset I find very, very horrible things very funny because to me they're so absurd that why would anybody in their right mind do it? But not everybody has that type of sense of humor, so I have to be very careful.
I don't know. Well, it's funny. You sent a topic. Do you remember the topic you sent me about knowing someone who went to jail?
Oh, yes.
Let's hit that quick. Yamaneika is going to be back in a few minutes, but hit that topic because it rang home to me. Do you remember the story?
Yeah. So I'm sitting there like scrolling the other day and all of a sudden my husband turns, he's scrolling too, and he goes, Silento was arrested for allegedly killing his cousin. And I was like, whoa, this is weird. And then I thought back, and as every person in radio always does, they're always like, did I meet that person who fill in the blank? Like anytime someone dies, like you'll see everybody in radio be like, I met that person one time and it was so amazing. Like it drives me nuts when famous people die, and that's what radio people do.
Because like right now everybody's grieving Screech.
Yes, and everyone's like, here's that one time that I met Screech. Screech doesn't give a crap about having met you. Well,
and Screech, the cast of Saved by the Bell, that did not let him in the remake.
I know. He had a troubled...
He was unstable. And you know what? Honestly,
life.
As a nerd, if I had to every day have the world make fun of me for being a nerd while hanging out with Mario Lopez, who has Dick Clark's disease, who has not aged in 40 years, and Mark Paul Gosselaar, who apparently also is half Indonesian. That came out today.
Really?
Yeah, who'd have thought? Interesting.
Who would've thought?
But yeah, I would have done drugs, gone crazy too.
I know. But anyway, so I did the thing that everyone in radio always does was, did I meet them? And I realized, oh my God, I did meet Silento. And I do have a picture with Silento. And I just thought to myself, I was in the room with an alleged murderer. And that was a weird moment.
Yeah, well, you weren't in the room with an alleged murderer at the time. You were at a would-be alleged murderer. Yes,
a future alleged murderer.
Alleged murderer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but honestly, I know we're sitting here joking like the poor guy's the cousin is dead. I mean, that's horrible. It was just one of those weird moments where I was like, whoa. You just like, whew.
Well, have you ever had that before though? See, I've had it a lot.
I have never had that before. The only thing that I have had was when I was answering. So my very first job in radio was answering phones for Elvis Duran in the morning show, and we would get calls from everywhere. And there was a man who called, and I swear to God, to this day, I do not believe he was lying to me. He called and he was like, I killed my wife and went to prison.
Okay.
And it was something in the way he said it. And I was just like, all right then, thank you for calling. Have a great day. I was just on the phone with their murderer. Like, it was just one of those very weird moments. But that's the only other thing.
Was he the 100th caller on the show? Did he win a prize?
I don't know. We were talking about something, and it was something about like crime or whatever. And I don't know why he called in and why I was blessed to take that phone call. And it was just like, it sent like shivers. Like, people call and you know when they're faking it. Like, you can just tell for the most part. And this person, I swear to God, not faking it at all.
And that's something that's going to be lost in radio is weirdos calling interns. That's a lost art. Like, like that, because radio was the art for lonely people that, and that's why we didn't have riots at the Capitol. Was if you were really crazy, you just listened to FM radio and there was music to calm you down in 2 minutes.
You didn't have
not
to
a suggested
join
video
Facebook and get sucked into QAnon.
Yeah. And it's funny. See, I was surprised you were shocked by that because I'm from Long Island and I can't talk about most of this. But I grew up in a town where you would be, and a rich town on paper, where you would be surprised by how many people I knew who grew up in my overall zip code who wound up in prison for something. A lot of drunk drivers. I mean, listen, a lot of easy ones. Drunk driving, a lot of drugs. And then I don't even want to talk too much about my hometown, but I'll tell you a story or two off air. But then there's one in college where I read an awful story where a man set his real estate agent on fire. And that was in New Jersey. And that guy went to my college, and I dug a little further, and he was a friend of mine's roommate.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, actually, and he was the roommate of my first guest on my cable access talk show in college.
What?
Yeah, and he set somebody on fire.
Okay.
And again, allegedly, and I don't even remember the guy's first name. Allegedly, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And I don't remember the guy vividly, but I remember his name coming up. And I went to a good college.
Yeah.
That's not that's a you kill your parents for the inheritance college, not a kill you real estate agent.
Got it. Different types of kills, I see.
Now, we have a big guest, Yamaneika Saunders, big stand-up comedian. One of the things that has been pointed out is I build up the guest too much in the intro, and then I do the intro again with the guest. But she's a brilliant comic, Comedy Central. She's hosted talk shows, and I like her. She's just like... she's someone I like, and I do miss bumping into her. That being said, you gave up something to do the interview with her.
I know. So my friend was doing one of those book parties where you get to learn about all the different books and then you buy them for your kids. And I've done one before, so I'm quite familiar with them.
Oh, so it's a kids' book party too.
It's a kids' book party.
Oh, I would never go to that. Thank God I wasn't invited.
Well, yeah. And I mean, overall, not my favorite way to spend 45 minutes of a week. However, like when my friends are actually doing it, like I just want to support my friends. Like I don't care what the activity is. I just want to help. But then I told her that, I had this come up and I was like, yo, if I just buy some books, is that cool? Do I have to show up to this thing? She's like, no, just buy books. So we're good. I'm just going to buy some books.
I feel like we should crash their Zoom and I should just come in with like adult toys.
No, oh God, no.
Now, did I want to trick you to buy, like, did I now try to trick you into selling books so she can make money?
So, no, they don't trick you into selling them. I don't think. I've never been asked to sell them. So I honestly don't know how that works.
So she might be a nice person just selling books. I mean, we know she's a nice person.
She is a nice person just selling. I was in her wedding.
Wait a second.
She's a good friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this isn't this like because I remember my best friend Pete McGarrigle and or one of my best friends Pete McGarrigle and one of my other best friends who has passed away, John McCann, tricked me and my real best friend Mike into going to an Amway meeting when we were in college. Do you know what Amway is?
No.
Amway is like Amazon.com before Amazon.com, and you had to do it through a catalog.
Oh, there's a show that's loosely based on that, which is how on becoming a god in Central Florida with Kirsten Dunst. It's like a multi-level marketing scheme, yes?
Yes, multi-level marketing scheme. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, is that show good?
It's interesting.
Because she played a mermaid in a mermaid place based on the place that I used to work.
Oh, really? Oh, yes. Oh, that's so
like
funny.
She's the
that
washed up,
theme park.
trashy. Yeah, the theme park that I used to work at, Wiki Wachi. This is loosely based on it.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's especially if you have connections to it, I would definitely watch it. It's bizarre and it's like slightly uncomfortable. And a lot of times it's good. Other times it's like, okay, they could have skipped this one, but like it's entertaining. You should watch it.
All right, good. So, and speaking of entertaining and something you should watch, we are going to pause. You are going to come back. You're going to hear Yamaneika Saunders and get ready for introspection and laughter and joy. And maybe if we do really well, we'll sell you a book. If Loren has to go to a book sales sort of a thing after this, our guest, Yamaneika Saunders, has to go play Fortnite on TV in a few minutes. Is that what you have going on, Yamaneika?
I'm streaming live on Twitch at 10:15.
Oh, so then we'll move quicker. We'll move quick. So listen, our guest, it's funny. I was reading an article before about missing, they call it weak ties or people that you're not the best of friends with. And if you talk about people I miss bumping into, it's our guest. She's been on Comedy Central. She has at least 1.5 hour special. She's hosted talk shows in daytime. I've admired her for years. She was the only person I was willing to talk to at a wake we went to a while ago. And she makes me laugh and she thrift store shops. Yamaneika Saunders. Yamaneika, we were talking about you on the show last week when I was trying to book you. Loren, explain why you know Yamaneika.
Oh, so I used to co-host the TJ show up in Boston. And many, many years ago, I don't know who the mutual friend was, but the host of the show, his name is TJ Taramina. Mm-hmm. He somehow knows you, and you came on our show briefly for like 1 or 2 segments. And then we were like elated because we're like, she's awesome. She's so funny. And then I think like right after that, you got booked for something like pretty, I don't know what it was, but like you couldn't come on the show anymore. And we were both like, oh man, we really miss her. So we've talked before, but we've never like officially met before in person.
Well, it's nice for me to see.
Yes.
So you've had a hell of a day. You've napped 4 times today.
Yeah, I keep going in and out of naps.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, I am too. I haven't had a good sleeping pattern in a long time. And I've been up and I've been working on a lot of things and doing a lot of, it's a lot of working from home. Somebody's sending you a box. I have a box now. I don't remember where I got it from. It's full of equipment, thousands of dollars of equipment. Although I shouldn't say that. It's going to get out of my house by tomorrow. So don't come and rob me.
Okay.
But I have, just stuff. And so I've just been really tired. And so I took 4 naps. They happened. They didn't ask me. They just were like, texting somebody. I fell asleep. One of my friends texted me. One of my friends hit me up on IG, which I don't understand when people hit you up on IG and they have your phone number. And
yes, thank you. Thank you.
Right? She's like, oh, I haven't told anybody, but I have COVID. And I was like, bitch, what? And so I go to text her, and in the process of texting her, I fell asleep. So
sorry you have COVID.
No,
good night.
In the middle of the damn. So like I had the same thing or a similar thing where I was home. I cut my finger and then I wound up having to got on a work call, and I asked one of my neighbors, do you have a Band-Aid? She said yes. And then I stopped answering her, and then she banged on the door to see if I was alive.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Except it's reversed. You were the caretaker who just stopped caring.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I stopped caring as much as I got tired of caring or got tired while I was caring. But then I finished the text message, but it came like, she definitely saw me open it on Instagram, and I just did not feel comfortable as a friend who has your phone number and a good friend at that to continue the conversation on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I have a friend who is messaging me on TikTok. I've got 12,000 followers on TikTok. I'm pretty sure 11,000 of them are spam bots. Why are you messaging me there?
I can't get to, I've done everything short of showing my uterus on TikTok. I can't get it to move. The algorithms there are very specific. On TikTok, they do not want to see you be a Black woman unless you are a white girl.
Oh,
yeah.
Yikes.
No, and you say that, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I cannot expand on my thoughts because I am a white man, and I will wind up in human resources if I expand. But I note what you're saying, and yes.
Then who gives a fuck? And fuck human resources.
You know, thank God you're here, Yamaneika. Thank God. No, but for real, I think there are people trying to be things that they are not, and appropriating, if you would, tones of voice, and trying to be, and everybody's dancing like they can't dance. It's weird. But
yeah, I had my white people back when they couldn't dance and wasn't, you know, and didn't try to pretend. And let me be very clear. I'm not saying that, you know, obviously being Black and a Black woman is not a monolith, so we are not all the same, and there's not one umbrella that makes up what Black women are. But more specifically, when there are Black women that are examples of what these young white girls are doing, and the same Black women don't get credit for authentically being who they are, or being demonized for who they are and discredited for who they are. Most certainly the people that benefit from that, taking on that armor, should not be young white women who are appropriating something that doesn't belong to them.
You know, and that's what I kind of like about 2020 and watching your stuff. You're on a short list of comedians who I actually follow. I have all of comedy unfollowed because I get jealous. I'm afraid of assimilating jokes and all this other jazz. But I've always followed you because you're just always kind, nice, and you make me laugh. But your YouTube show is real. Like, it's everything. Like I had to go look up and get to know more about Cicely Tyson after watching you this week. Like,
I mean, let's not even get into my producer and creative director, Love Aguilar, who doesn't know who Cicely Tyson is and did a full package on her. And a lot of that is because he's young. I mean, when Cicely Tyson was at her height, she, you know, really, her second wind of her career was like in her 50s, which is around the time I was born. So, you know, when I was born, she was already in her 50s. So it's equivocal to like whatever kid is born now, and like Viola Davis is doing what she's doing, and obviously is going to have a long stretching career, or Angela Bassett or something like that. Yeah. So I mean, I give a little bit of, you know, understanding there. But yeah, I mean, my show is very honest, and it, you know, some of these comics in 2020, they doing something that's new, and they're all doing something that's very brave. I've been very vocal my entire career, which is probably why my career doesn't move as quickly as it can.
Well, so I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I always say this about Jessica Curson.
I love her too.
Well, there you go. There's another woman who's slow to answer my calls on Instagram. But
listen, Jessica and I are like bosom buddies, and I'll be lucky if I can catch that bitch once a year. And we're doing something tomorrow, and the fact that we've been trying to do this thing we're doing tomorrow 11 times.
Oh my God.
Is right on course for how we get down.
I always put Jessica at the top of my comedy pyramid for people who I just don't understand why the fuck they haven't made it. And you're on that list. Why haven't you made it? Or what are you doing with Jessica that's going to make you both make it tomorrow?
Oh, no, we're just doing a live thing in character. I have a character. She has a character. We wanted to do it together. And I did a little sneak peek of it on her show with Rachel.
Okay.
So we're doing that, just having some fun. But I mean, there's a lot of variables when you talk about, and I make no qualms in saying this, but a lot of people do. I think the hardest for someone to be authentically real and not a stereotype or a caricature of themselves in this business to get on is a Black woman, maybe an Eskimo woman. But, you know, like there's always a lot of room for white men to be authentic and complain and have their gripes. There's very much room for Black men to do the same. I mean, you have a large bandwidth of Black men from, you know, the very political and conscious, you know, people like, you know, Godfrey, who speaks on a lot of different things. to the, I mean, I'm not gonna name because I'm probably gonna wind up working with this person, but you know, we all have that sort of like fluffy, like, oh, I'm non-threatening Black guy. I mean, even though that's more of the type of industry likes to pick up is that non-threatening Black guy. But the reason why I haven't made it is because in parcel to that, right, is that I'm not, you know, I got to make white women comfortable, you know, right. I got to make white men comfortable. Whiteness has to be comfortable. And then also with a lot of Black performers in the capacity to make white America comfortable, you are now becoming displaced with your own people who don't want to see you align yourself with the oppressor. Right. So, I mean, so I feel like I'm an anomaly in that because I am not necessarily, I'm not categorized as an urban comic, right? Which I think the idea of urban comedy is one of the most racist things about our business is the fact that all the Black people get pushed into urban no matter what type of comedy.
Like the Grammys, that was a huge thing with Tyler, the Creator. And yeah,
it's just like throw, you know, because white people can only see us in one layer and it's like, okay, I don't understand it. So it's all urban, and I always thought that was ignorant because especially New York, that city where everything is urban. So we're all urban, if anything, even the white comics. I mean, it's not like we're in fucking Arkansas.
Yeah.
So, you know, that already displaced that. But I feel like I can do those if we are going to put a label on it. Urban rooms, I've been able to do those. And I've also been able to do mainstream rooms. I more often than not get booked in mainstream rooms.
Yeah, because that's where I know you from.
Yeah, I mean, but that's just, trust me, I'm not trying to get, you know, I'm not like trying to be like a comic that's like, I'm looking for the mainstream. I want to perform wherever I can have a good time. Yeah. So, you know, I've done some really awesome, cool mainstream rooms and clubs and shows, obviously, but I've had some really great times at some quote unquote urban barbecue spots, back of restaurants, you know, somebody family reunion, somebody VFW, you know, like I've had those things as well. So I'm more in tune to, you know, having an audience that I can vibe with more so than the labeling of the damn audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, and my problems in life are nowhere near as deep as what you just said, but I'm having trouble with, I make my money entertaining moms and people. And then yet I want to tell dirty jokes at night and I'm trying to find some sort of a mix here. Are you finding a mix of your voices or is there like, do you change your voice when you hop around? Because listen, I know you, I met you first when you were doing daytime TV. So that's definitely not what you do at, let's say, West Side Comedy Club. How do you, whereas when I watch you on YouTube, I feel like it's the real you. Am I wrong or?
Yeah, I mean, but I'm not necessarily on my YouTube, am I necessarily doing comedy more as I'm doing commentary, right? As a human being in the world. I was doing myself during daytime. The only thing I wasn't doing is I wasn't cursing.
Okay. No, so and that's a difference. Yeah.
Doing myself. And there were some tricky moments behind the scenes. I was a little ornery sometimes.
I don't know if I'm allowed to even name the show because I know you were loved there.
Yeah, you can name it. I love everybody there. I'm still in contact with everyone on the show.
At Meredith Vieira is where you were young and you were the plucky new co-host getting discovered even though you'd been around.
Yeah, I like that plucky. It's so much better than sassy.
I hate the word sassy for anybody.
I hate that word. Yeah, and you know, that kind of came organically. So it wasn't even forced. I came on Meredith actually to promote another show that I was on Oxygen called Funny Girls, and it was premiering. Yeah. And I came on to do an interview, and it went into a panel. One producer and one of the executive producers from the show had seen me at Stand Up New York several times and wanted to book me on panels. So it just so happened that I was able to do press in New York because I was here. And Meredith Vieira had a platform, and I went on. And really enjoyed me, and everybody they just kept asking me to come back from the first day I was on. Like, can you come tomorrow? Can you come tomorrow? And then eventually it was like, you know, Meredith knows you've been doing this for, you know, you've been coming and you're probably going through a lot of wardrobe. So she's going to give you a wardrobe budget.
Oh, wow.
Last 2 weeks. Yeah, she was very gracious. gave me a budget to get clothes, and I finished out the last of the first season on panel. And then when we came back, you know, they had a more traditional panel. We just, you know, we helped. We weren't co-hosting, we were helping her lift the first part of the show with, you know, commentary. And then she was the host of the show, and she did her thing, and it was great. It was fun. She let us have room to explore and expand, and I'll always be grateful to her for that.
Well, I've always admired her.
Now, yeah, and she's amazing, and I've only worked with her a couple of times, and I don't know anybody who doesn't like her. Now, here's my question. How do you go from daytime TV to playing Fortnite? Like, have you always been a video gamer, and are you doing this as a show?
Yeah, we're getting the streaming together. It's still very new. I've always been a gamer. I've been gaming for years. People just don't peg me as a gamer. I mean, my last relationship, one of the things that made me love him the most is that he was a gamer too. So it felt like, it was like, oh my God, we're just going to have all these kids and they're going to have like game, you know, controllers in their hands. Unfortunately, that's not the case because we're not together. But it was, you know, I'm somebody who grew up and understood the 80s where we watched cartoons and, you know, we played video games. And so I think it's more normal than people anticipate that there are women who game.
Yeah.
Now, my nephew, Nico, is apparently a top ranked, he's one of the top 20 guys on some sort of ranking website for his kill to shot ratio. Am I getting that right?
Oh, that's
she's very impressed.
Yeah. I mean, get him on here.
Yeah. Because what's funny is he's making money tutoring old white guys in Fortnite.
Actually, can you connect me with him? Because I need some tutoring, but he has to give me a friends and discount rate.
You know what? For you, I'll pay. I'll pay for the first hour of whatever he's charging for you.
That's so cute. I would wonder if he would come on my stream with me, and or does he want to keep that private? We'll have to talk after the fact.
No, but it's fun. But here's what's funny is he, like this kid, you're telling him, dude, get a job, stop playing video games, and right now he has a job playing video games.
Well, you know, you can major in that now. Like there are universities that are offering that as, you know, something to study. And I thought it was a joke at first, but it's true.
It's a real quick get money when something's hot situation. So for example, like, and I was telling my doorman this, he has a son that's like really into gaming, and we're trying to connect on Twitch, but I have to make up my mind whether I want to do that, because I also don't want to make my channel G for kids. And so, you know, he was like, yeah, he's really into gaming. And I was telling him, he's like, well, I want him to be into sports, and I want him to do this and that and this and that. And I'm telling him about this and that. And I said, no. I said, find out where he is with this gaming. I said, because this is where, if he's into it, you got to start early. Like, you know, these kids, they're coming out of the womb doing this shit, and they're like millionaires by the time they're 7. They're taking care of their families. This is all I want from my life. Actually, I want a kid so bad that games, like I will start the gaming from like the Lamaze classes. There are millionaires, but you also have to get in. Like Fortnite has had longevity, which is great.
Yeah.
You know, really, it's tricky because there's so many different platforms. There's so many people that are gaming. There's so many people that are high proficiency. So you either want to be the person that has high proficiency. I think people like playing with me and watching me play because I'm sort of irreverent, you know, at times, and I don't give a fuck, and I'm competitive, and I'm super mean, but I'm also like really funny and friendly at the same time. So you got to find where your thing is.
So I think a lot of our audience skews a little older. There's a video of you while you play the game on Twitch. That's how people are watching you?
Yeah, so they're watching me stream live, and there's videos that are up. They stay up, and they can watch gameplay. Like, for example, and we've been sort of creative. Kim Condon, who's a comedian, and Mateo Lane, I play with them. Okay. And so we had this thing where, you know, in Kim's stream on Twitch, she had a mod that was going rogue, and he wound up going into another girl's stream while she was streaming, and she didn't have a mod. So we did this whole court thing where she sort of took him to trial. I judged it. Mateo was there as like the court stenographer, and we did this whole thing where we like, you know, and it was fun for like we had cross streams. So we had people from Mateo's stream, my stream, Kim's stream, you know, watching in and, you know, voting and, you know, along, like, did they agree with how I judge? Did they not, you know, a whole thing. So there's so many different, you know, aspects of it. It's just a whole different world that once you start to immerse yourself in it, it has a stack of layers to it. You know, you either in it or you're not. You're either a gamer or you're not. And I've had some people who have had a really difficult time moving from my Instagram to Twitch. I mean, they don't have to leave Instagram, but I'm like, just come over to Twitch because I'm not going to be live on Instagram anymore. There's a platform for me to play live and connect with people. And they're like, I don't know. What's the Twitch account? You know, it's like talking to my mother 1,000 times a day and explaining to her, like, nobody's trying to kidnap your information. Just go to Twitch. You don't have to be committed at all. Just make a sign-in so that you can log into it.
Squat on your name there. Just so no one steals your damn screen name.
You know when someone squatted on my Instagram name for years, and it took me forever until it opened up and I finally got it. So yes, take that advice.
Listen, I squatted on my name on Parler, and I know one day I'm going to be on a list and not get a job because of that. I know that one day someone's going to say, Tom, you're a white supremacist. You were on Parler. And I'm like, I just wanted my name.
We all have it. We all have. I put up a meme that I know the second somebody offers me a check over $100,000 that they're going to come for me super hard with this. It was a white woman and she had no arms and legs. And they made it seem like she was rioting with the Capitol Hill hillbillies.
Okay.
And it's a cop that's like, he seems like he's escorting her through.
Into the riot.
I saw you post that one. I followed you. Yeah.
And I said, this is what white privilege is, to be a head on a stump.
Saw that.
Have the cops. And so anyway, the woman, it was from a whole different riot for disability and shit. And what happened was, and this is where I took umbrage, because I'm like, listen, don't fucking come for me. I didn't come for you, okay? And the reality is, people were like, people that have never commented on anything I've ever
yes,
done.
I'm sure.
I'm offended. I blocked so many people. I'm offended that you, and how could you? First of all, bitch, I'm a triple minority. I'm a fat black woman in America. That's quadruple minority. So if you think you could find something that you're going to fucking toss down on me, that I'm somehow to a white supremacist, you, your mama, your entire family can all take your 4 fingers and stick them right up my fucking vagina. And that's facts, okay? So now I take it down, right? And I go also a little bit of fuck you, because I'm not here to kick a disabled woman down that's fighting for disability rights, but also don't throw the bitch's picture up during the damn Capitol Hill shit. Because when do I know when white people are going rogue? I didn't know that she was a white person going rogue over disability shit. I thought she was a hee-haw hillbilly going rogue because Donald Trump was going to Florida.
Sure.
How do you stay real? How do you talk about edgy things and be yourself without worrying about the $100,000 check that might come tomorrow, like you said before?
Oh, I worry about it.
Do you?
I worry about it. I just, you know, I'm not perfect, right? I have other areas of my life where I have insecurities. It just happens to not be when it comes to stating my opinion and comedy or commentary. But I have other areas in my life where I have a lot of insecurities, and it's really hard for me to move forward in certain things. So I don't want to come here like I'm just some, you know, because I think people get that misconstrued. I think, you know, this is the problem with, you know, so many people like so many white women attaching themselves to Lizzo in such a gross way and saying things like she's their spirit animal and every black woman is some white woman's spirit animal. It's like, the things that the places and the reality of how I have to be strong comes out of more of necessity than actual desire to be strong and stand up for myself. So we can't get that twisted. Anything that I can say in this lane and in this world, you most certainly can say it, and probably more so than me, because I am expected not to say those things. I'm expected to make people feel comfortable and laugh and, you know, make them feel better about themselves because I'm just some fat, big old, nasty, fat black bitch. Look at how hilarious she is. She gonna flip pancakes and she gonna, you know, be there to support. And so when I don't do those things, obviously people got to take a step back and go, where can we place this kind of voice? So,
well, and listen, one of the real things about this podcast, and Loren's been helping me on it, it's a self-help podcast, and the only self I'm really interested in helping is me. But
I mean, that's funny, but it's true. Everybody should be trying to help themselves so you can help them.
But like, how do you, like, when you're on stage, man, you're a machine. You like, I mean, your energy, your confidence, like Loren, you won't get this. Like the same woman I would talk about thrift store shopping with would then go on and just, like it's Fortnite. How do you find that confidence when you may not have it? Am I saying that right?
Well, I love thrift shopping. I mean, my grandmother, when she passed away, I mean, the thrift shops closed down for a couple of days. They didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
I got my thriftery from her. She would get bags and bags of clothes and trinkets and things in the house, and we would go donate all of those, probably 8 or 9 bags. And then my grandmother would stay there and shop and take home 8 or 9 bags. So after some years, it just became a recycling program of what hasn't she had that was in the store.
Right.
Now, I love those things. But at the same time, I mean, there's things I got to get off my chest. So when I'm on stage, I'm on stage. I don't really, I've had my moment. I've talked about this many times, but I've had my moment. You know, I got booed on Showtime at the Apollo, and I didn't know that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've talked about it a lot, but it was a aggressive ordeal because the boos didn't just stay in the Apollo. They actually made their way onto the train. But it was a moment where it was like, so people gonna like either like you or not like you, like no matter what, you can't do anything about that. And the more that you try to force people to like you or be things so that people can like you, the more upset you're going to be when it comes time for you to get because at some point they build people up and they just want them to fall, right? Mm-hmm. You're falling because you've built up this, sort of stack of I'm doing all the things right and I'm saying all the things right and da 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 da, and then you fall. You go, well, I fell being whoever I was being created to be. Versus if you get somewhere and then you fall, it's like, well, at least I fell being the motherfucker I was.
Yeah. So it felt like inauthentic, right?
Yeah. I mean, I just go on stage. I don't really worry about anything at this point in time. I've gotten so many different people. I've been in so many scenarios from the stage. And my vibe is mostly so that I don't encounter a lot of bullshit. My vibe, I'm less likely to have somebody heckle me because of my vibe. But when I do have somebody that tries to heckle me, they the heckler of all hecklers. And then we have to have a moment like in the episode of Discovery Channel where we figure out which one of us is the gazelle and which one of us is the lion. And I promise you, I got the mic, bitch.
Can I ask you guys both a question, just doing what you do for a living? How quickly can you assess the audience that's in front of you? Does that question, am I explaining that right?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. What do you think, Yamaneika? Like, do you know it's like a bad show before you even go on stage?
No, because I can't go by because that was cocky of me.
No, be cocky.
I can't determine whether the it's a good show or not based upon how the comics before me are.
Yeah, that's not cocky. I don't think.
And for me, I'll get into a thing of, and I can't do, and I think you're very off the top of your head. You don't do your special. Did you do a set list for your special, or like you knew I'm doing this, and this in that order? I can't do that.
No, this is a behind the scenes thing that people just learn to trust me now, but I don't do the rehearsal. I don't do.
That's awesome.
I don't want to do it. because I don't have time for you to be sucking the energy out of what I'm getting ready to do. And it's not, and this also happened when I was on Meredith too, because, you know, we obviously would discuss what topics we wanted to have beforehand. We wouldn't necessarily discuss them, but
right,
to see how much of a burn it was on the topic with, you know, the panel. And a lot of times I would just kind of shut down and be like, okay, I'll just be like, yeah, no, yes, no. Really? Because at a certain point, once I say something, it's phony for me to say it again. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, when I'm doing a special, I have to say we work the bits, we work, but I work them just enough.
Yeah.
Just enough that we know where it starts and we know where it ends. But I'm not worrying about any of the shit in the middle. I will get there. I will get where I need to get. Don't tell me what to do in the middle.
That's awesome. Because we did a lot of that in radio where we would open the break and I just really wouldn't know what we'd be talking about. Obviously, the host would have an idea of what we're doing, but it was sort of kind of what you were saying too. It's like we don't want to go through it too much because it takes out the spontaneity, I think, like when it's actually live and happening. That's cool that they trust you and they let you just do it.
People learn to trust me. I always have to restart with every new person I deal with. And I'm very upfront. Like, obviously there has to be, in all the specials that I've done, there has to be a set list, obviously.
Right.
Or they have seen the material somewhere before they engage you. And then there is a set list, and it depends on the comic, right? Sometimes people, because a special is important and it's going to live somewhere forever, people want to remember and they don't want to forget. So sometimes people will have bullets to scroll up. Some people will have their entire, you know, I don't know how they do that.
Yeah.
But
like on a teleprompter?
But you can have your bid. You can have it any way you want. I've always given a set list and have never looked at it, not even once, to the point where I remember one, I'm not going to say what special it was, that I was taping, and the camera guy, he didn't know where to go because I was jumping around, and he kept pointing like to thinking that I didn't know where. I was like, motherfucker, I know where I'm going.
Yeah, like leave me alone. Yeah.
You don't know. Because this audience doesn't need me to do it in this fashion when I sat down in a hotel room and put the order down for you, not knowing what the fuck was going to go on. And now we're in it. Now I know what they need. Now I know when they need it, and I know what they need first so that I can get to the thing. So it's listen, it's a business. I understand people put money into stuff. They want to make sure it's okay. But like, I'll be honest, I have an album out, Damsel in Distress. This album that's actually out is completely riffed.
Really? When did you record it?
I recorded it, I think it's 3 years old now.
Okay.
And so what happened was we set up to do, I recorded at New York Comedy Club. We set out to do, I was picking up my set from Comedy Central. So it's just an extension of my Comedy Central half hour. Right. But it's 45 minutes, where we're supposed to be 45 minutes. I think I want to be in like maybe 50, 55 minutes. And so we did that. We did the first taping. And I just decided to go up for the second taping and bring up shit that I had already, like stuff I used to talk about and maybe didn't get to make it here, and it just all kinds of like little shit. And it was so funny. The album you hear a lot of the Comedy Central, but if you notice, like, there's a lot that's very different that's not in it, and that's because we were able to use the second taping to then parlay into me getting my Netflix half hour.
Wow! Oh, wow!
It's all different shit. Also, I've been doing comedy for like, almost 20 years at that point.
What year did you start? Because I remember you at the end of Hamburger Harry's, right? Were you down for that? I remember you did Gladys and Bob's.
Yes. So I started doing stand-up in Los Angeles I'm from Maryland, but I moved to LA to go to the LA County High School for the Arts to study theater.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I'm trained in the theater. And so I moved there when I was like 15 and a half, going on 16.
Holy crap.
I moved to New York when I was 20, going on 21.
Okay.
So yeah, when Hamburger Harry, all that stuff was wrapping up, I probably was like 23 or 24 or at the time. And then I just went on, I don't know what I was doing, to be honest with you. I was trying, I've never been a networker. I think that's also.
And I think that's why I like you, though. But I think that's why I actually like you is I don't think you, did you go to the clubs to hang out? I always was awful at that and never did it.
I never even had a real wing at the Cellar until I got on there. And people like that sort of which I always think is crazy to me. But I've seen it work for people. You posture up enough next to people. Like I always say to people, I have in my phone right now, I have probably 11 or 12 head executives of networks, if not VPs. They could never say I've called them for any type of work.
Wow. Or
to do anything. I go through the means that need to go through.
Yeah.
To set up meetings with these people who are in my phone as fucking friends the proper way. Like that's how much but I think there's also a balance, right? Because I see some people who are able to do it. And there's just a phoniness to me.
Yes.
I really want to work with people because I want to work with them, not because I don't want to talk to you. I've never been like that. I've never been able to talk to somebody, chat somebody up, want to hang with somebody just because they can do something to my career because I get bored. I mean, like if you went,
what part of Maryland are you from? The only reason I ask is because my husband lived in DC for a while, and we felt like every time we were there, we were long distance. So every time I would visit him, it was such a transactional city. And it was like you would meet someone and they'd be like, what do you do? Oh, okay, thanks. Like you would only network with these people because they thought that they could help you, and that's it. It was gross.
Wait, and that was in Baltimore?
No, this was in DC. That's why I was curious, what part of Maryland?
Baltimore, I'd be hard pressed if people from Baltimore like that. I mean, I was born in Baltimore. I was raised in Harford County. And I say that just because I always thought Baltimore's was, you always wanted to have that little street cred. And so I really didn't get it growing up in the suburbs, in the burbs out where I remember when we go to church in Baltimore and people be complaining about roaches, and I remember trying to complain about roaches, and then I remember my grandmother going, "We don't have roaches. We have ranting long legs and fucking ladybugs." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's true." I remember I was so excited when we got a silverfish because I was like, "Is that a roach?" So I've always been trying to, sort of be down, and so I'm glad that what got me to this point of sort of being down is just not giving a fuck. That's just being down. It's not,
You touched on something, and I want to be aware of your time because I know you got Fortnite in 9 minutes.
4 minutes, and I've already turned the game on.
And I know you got to stretch, and you probably got to limber up and
get the thumbs.
I'm going to do while you're doing that.
Jazz hands and stuff.
But wait, before you go, I want to ask you one real thing because you said something nice about your grandma. And oh my God, really?
Oh my God, I love your headphones. Are they the Ariana Grande headphones?
Dante Nero gave me this.
Oh, God bless.
That's how much I game. But I'm listening.
I can't ask you a serious question about your grandmother while you're wearing the headset you wore to the Women's March.
There's an update that's happening that I'm very furious about, but it's happening. So I'll give you a few more seconds.
You got one more second. Listen, what did you just mentioned the thing about your grandma saying you can't joke about roaches. Did you have people in your life who kept you real like that?
Oh yeah. I mean, she was saying we didn't have roaches. It was to her, it was why are you trying to joke about or act like you have something that you don't? We have bugs. And that's the thing that was always good about my grandmother is when people try to separate themselves in humanity, I mean, we do this a lot, like, oh, certain people do this and they don't do that. And what about this and that? And this is constantly trying to separate ourselves from people like, oh, you know, I was watching a documentary and this woman was in this sort of African town, and, you know, all of the people from where she's from was like, do they bathe? And it's like, yeah, people are constantly trying to separate themselves or find a way to say that they're better than other people or whatever. But at the end of the day, right, we all got bugs. Everybody got bugs. Some people got roaches. Some people got silverfish. Some people got granddaddy long legs, you know. And so the reality is we all deal with pestilence or the same inconveniences or in some capacity, right? And so that was, yeah, in essence, like my grandmother keeping me real. But to be honest, when I got booed on Showtime at the Apollo, I got booed because I was like not really being real. And I did a joke about roaches that didn't go over well. And roaches keep following me. I mean, I eventually got roaches. I eventually moved somewhere that had roaches.
And then next thing you know, you're going to get a Raid commercial. And
oh, there you go. But here in New York City, honey, they don't have roaches. They have the president of the La Cucarachas. Okay?
President.
And he walks around as a briefcase. He has Secret Servicemen. He was staying in a place that I lived in for a while. He was there. And I voted to have him removed, just like I voted for Donald Trump. La Cucaracha. That they want to call a water bug. I was like, honey, he's not drinking water. He's eating steroids.
Yeah, that's a big water bug. Not much water around. All right, you got to play. I know you got a book club you got to go finish going to, Loren.
I'm done with it.
Yamaneika, what are you selling? What are you selling? Like if you had I meant to ask you this 40 minutes ago.
What's your MLM scheme?
Yeah.
Tell me back on what I'm selling something. Right now, I'm only selling puss. But and it's hot. It's hot in the press as well. What I'm trying to do is
you realize there's like 3 old ladies like, what app is puss? Does it vibrate?
To the entire white community that had to put up with my shenanigans this entire episode. And then I want to apologize to the black community that I had to apologize to the white community.
Why are you
apologizing for my shenanigans?
Don't apologize for Jack.
I understand all white women, because I'll tell you this in closing, and this is not something I should close on, but this will be a nice little closed door. And I will sell my wares the next time I'm on here.
Okay.
When I was on Meredith, I was very against guns. I believe there should be some level of, I understand people's idea about the government. I get all that. With that being said, when we lost so many innocent lives to the fact that it's so easy for any imbecile with a fucked up idea to get a gun, then we have to do something. At the very least, there should be some form of reform. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget, I got a letter and they had a stack of letters upstairs, and I noticed they had all my name on. I was like, I have all this, fan mail.
Fan mail for me. They love me.
No.
For me.
No.
And they were like, yeah, we haven't gone through them yet. And I was like, oh, you don't have to go through that. And they were like, oh, no, we go through them. And I'm like, no, let me look. And so I took a handful. I went down to my dressing room. I was so excited. I opened up one of the envelopes. And I mean, some of them were very nice. And one was from a lady. You just could tell she was an old blue-haired bitch. And you could just see the varicose veins in her hands. She said, I don't agree with you when it comes to gun control. And I hope one day somebody rapes you so that you wish you had a gun.
Dude.
And I
messed up.
Back, and I said, lady, if you think it's easy to rape me, you are delusional.
Wow. You know what though? But I need to just hang out with you and be your intern to soak up your confidence. Yamaneika, go win at Fortnite. Thank you for a great hour, my friend.
Well, nice talking with you guys.
Nice to talk to you.
Bye, my love. Bye.
Bye. Supposed to be a 20-minute thing, and I've kept you up till midnight.
No, it's okay. I feel bad that she talks about how she has to apologize to all the white people that she offended. It's just, I don't know. I'm just trying to be far more attentive to race lately, and I think it's great being able to talk to someone who's so open and like comfortable talking about it as Yamaneika is.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know, it's like screwed up that she's like, I have to apologize and I have to apologize for apologizing. And I'm like, dude, no one has to apologize for Jack. Like if they don't like you, like they shouldn't make you apologize. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? I think the right way to say it is, and I know we're keeping this short, this is just our goodbyes, but I think Yamaneika gave us the chat that I needed tonight. How about
She's
that?
awesome.
Yeah, I learned a couple of things. I think my brother's going to get along very well with her on other things, and I do too. And thank you for sticking around. I know you gave up stuff to be a part of this show tonight, and it means a lot. For those of you listening at home, listen, you have been so good to me on Apple Podcasts. Give us 5 stars there. Write a nice review if you have time. And it's Tom Kelly Show on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Oh, by the way, Loren Raye has her own Instagram, LORENRAY_, and you could give her a follow.
RAYE.
God, all right. Well, you would have shown up though by the Y.
I know. But can we just acknowledge that my parents royally screwed up my name? They're like, we're going to call her Loren Raye and just spell it wrong.
Yeah, we have to discuss a few things on you and why. Actually, that's why I don't think Yamaneika's famous. Is I don't know where the I and the E go when I have to write her name out by memory. Like it's YAMANIEKA, I think it is, but I'm probably wrong. I'll need autocorrect to help me on that. And same thing with you, Loren, LOREN.
I know. No, my parents were just strange.
Yeah, and then also, this is how I know we are old friends or old acquaintances or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. I have all 3 of your fake names in my phone. I have your stage name, I have your maiden name, and your married name.
That is really funny. You have my maiden name?
I think so. Yeah, CIA.
Without
giving it away. Well, but you get what I'm saying.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, not many people know my maiden name. Yeah, but my stage name, to be fair, is my legal name. It's just part of my legal name.
And on that, good night, America.